Hi everyone, my name is Ivan, grade 10 edge number 15, and there is also Wisnu, grade 10 edge number 3. Here we will tell the history of Jambi Islamic Kingdom. First, we will start with the beginning of the Jambi area. Jambi is the one of the province located in the middle of the island of Sumatra and has a sailing route with Malacca in China. The original religion of the people of Jambi was a primitive religion which had animism, dynamism, and even pantheism foundation. In the 9th to 12th centuries, Jambi was controlled by a Malay kingdom who was Hindu-Buddhist. This was marked by the establishment of a temple in Muaro Jambi, which was also known as Muara Takus Temple. This temple illustrates how big the influence of Buddhism was in the life of Jambi people at that time. In fact, it is said that Muaro Jambi Temple is the largest Buddhist learning center in Southeast Asia. Next, we will talk about the entry of Islam in Jambi. The influence of Islam in the Jambi area is not known for sure. The source and texts found about the entry of Islam in Jambi are only through rewritten community stories around the 19th centuries. According to the source found, it is said that the entry of Islam in the Jambi area was told through the story of the arrival of Ahmad Salim, who were originally going to Java. From Turkey, two of his ships were hit by a storm in the waters of the Malacca Strait and were stranded on an island at the end of Jabung. This island is known by farmers as Haunted Island or Ghost Island, so there are many offerings and statues for the blessing of safety for the sailors who pass it. Queen Majapahit rescued the sister ship to Java, while Ahmad Salim, after being stranded on the island and destroying idols there, were invited to stay at the palace. Ahmad Salim then stayed in the Jambi area, and also his father ordered to do trade in the Jambi region, so that he also spread Islam in the Jambi area while doing the trade. Ahmad Salim later married one of the daughters of King Aditya Warman, who was a Buddhist and was known as Putri Selaras Pinangmasa, who later embraced Islam. After that, Ahmad Salim began to develop Islam and erode the influence of Buddhism. Ahmad Salim was given the title Dato Paduka Prialo, and he was the first person to become Muslim in Jambi. In another version, it is said that Ahmad Salim or Dato Paduka Prialo had a son named Orang Kayu Hitam. As a king, he succeeded in spreading Islam in the Malay land of Jambi by developing a custom motto. Adat bersendi syara, syarat bersendi kitabullah, syara mengatur adat memakai. Then he Islamized his cousin from Pagaruyung, who was later cloned as Sunan Hijauan and Sunan Kembang Seri. After Orang Kayu Hitam, the throne was handed over to his children who used Panembahan titles, such as Panembahan Ilang di Air, Panembahan Kuto Baru, Panembahan Bawah Sawo, and Panembahan Rantau Kapas.
And the next, I will continue the explanation about the development of Islam in Jambi. Jambi began to be ruled by a king who had the title Sultan in 16th century. Since the region of the Jambi Islamic Kingdom under Sultan Abdul Qahar, the VOC people began to trade. They are by a product from Jambi Kingdom, especially pepper. With the permission of the Sultan Jambi in 1616, the Dutch company VOC established a lodge in Muara Kompeh. However, a few years later, in 1636, the lodge was abandoned because the people of Jambi did not want to sell their natural products to the VOC. Since then, the relation between the Jambi Kingdom and the VOC have become increasingly tense. And then, during the reign of Sultan Sringgolo in 1665 until 1690, there was a war between the Jambi Kingdom and the Johor Kingdom, where the Jambi Kingdom received VOC assistance and launched it. Despite this, the VOC promotes wages as assistant in succession. As a result, this agreement strengthened the monopoly on the purchase of paper. On the other hand, the VOC insisted on selling cloth and opium. Several years later, there was an attack on the VOC trading office by the people of Jambi and the head of traders who were accused involving the Sultan of Jambi. Since then, conflict has continued, culminating in the rebellion and resistance of Sultan Taha Saifuddin. The ongoing conflict with the Dutch government made the Jambi region continue to decline.
Now we will talk about the legacy of the Jambi Islamic Kingdom. First, there is Rumah Batu Pangeran Wirokusumo. Prince Wirokusumo, whose real name is Ali Idrus Al-Jufri, was awarded by the Dutch a house made of stone. Long story short, it is said that Raden Matahir, who was in hiding, was wanted by the Dutch. The Dutch at that time were trying to find and ask Prince Wirokusumo. Because they wanted to tell the location where Raden Matahir was hiding, the Dutch finally awarded him a house with 3 architectural styles, with a combination of Dutch, Malay, and Chinese. Next, there is Al Fatah Mosque. The mosque, which is very famously known as Thousand Pillar Mosque, was built in 1971 and was completed in 1980, taking 9 years of construction. The largest mosque in Jambi City, although it is known as the Thousand Pillar Mosque, the land where the Thousand Pillar Mosque was found, is a witness to the history of King Taha Saifuddin's struggle against the Dutch. In 1885, the land of the Kingdom of Jambi was bound by the promise of control by the Dutch, but this was opposed by Taha Saifuddin. Next, there is Istana Abdurrahman Taha Saifuddin. This palace is located in Tanah Garu Muara Tabir, Jambi. Sultan Taha Saifuddin was the last king of the Jambi Kingdom, who was also crowned as national hero. He died in the battle against the Dutch with a shield for fighting for his homeland. At last we have Makam Rajaraja. This is an ancient burial site which is sacred to local people. It is a place for the kings who once ruled in Jambi to reside. This tomb is located in Telanai district, 4 kilometers from the city center. In this place were buried the wife of Sultan Taha Saifuddin, Raden Matahir, and other kings of Jambi.
And next, we will continue about the exemplary value of the character. First, we have Sultan Taha Saifuddin bin Muhammad. Sultan Taha Saifuddin was the 8th of Sultan from Jambi Islamic Kingdom, who ruled from 1855 until 1858. Sultan Taha Saifuddin was a well-known sultan in his government. In addition, Sultan Taha was one of the figures who opposed colonialism in Jambi, who worked with his people and a Batak king Sisingamangaraja, until he died at Dutch hands in 1904. Because of his struggle against Dutch colonialism in Jambi, this name was immortalized as the name of Jambi Airport, namely Sultan Taha Saifuddin Airport. He was also named a national hero of Indonesia. Next, Ahmad Salim. Ahmad Salim is one of the people who broke in the influence of first Islamic teaching in the Jambi area. He is also one of the founders of the Jambi Islamic Kingdom. He has persistence in carrying out his duties, where he is very obedient to religious teachings. He destroyed the idols that the Javanese people believed in the past and taught teaching of Islam to the surrounding community. Ahmad Salim also Islamized the Jambi royal family and was a person who was very instrumental in the formation of the Jambi Islamic Kingdom. Next, Orang Kayu Hitam. Orang Kayu Hitam is the son of Ahmad Salim and Putri Laras Minang. He is the successor king who led the Jambi Islamic Kingdom after his father. During the reign of Orang Kayu Hitam, Jambi began to enter its heyday by freeing the area from the influence of the Mataram Kingdom. He became a leader who was considered and sanctuary by the people of the Jambi region, so that it could bring the Jambi Sultanate to be more developed during his reign. And the last, we have Sultan Ahmad Nazaruddin. Sultan Ahmad Nazaruddin was appointed in the mid-19th century as a Sultan of Jambi to replace Sultan Taha Saifuddin, who was impeached by the Dutch. Many Dutch reports say that the Jambi kings and princes lived in poor condition. They lived with minimal economic and condition from the tribute in their respective regions. Even though he lived in poverty during the time of Sultan Ahmad Nazaruddin, he remained humble as a king and kept trying to make the people of the Sultan of Jambi prosper. Okay, that's also our explanation about the Jambi Islamic Kingdom from me, Andreas Wisnu Aryasatya, and my friend Ignatius Ivan Wijaya. So, thank you for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.